I'm here in Celebration, Florida with my buddy Ken. I've known him for a number of years, and we just had a fascinating conversation about real estate in Florida. Well, thank you for having me, Ken. I'm excited to be here, and I've got some questions for you.
Okay.
Because I have been hearing from friends and family and colleagues all over the country, like Florida is the place to be.
Seems that way.
It's the place to invest in real estate. It's the place to live because it's beautiful. So what's going on? Is that actually true? Are people moving here in droves?
Yeah, like over 1,000 people a week are moving to Orlando, and over 500 a day are moving somewhere in Florida.
Wow. Now, is it the weather? Is that what it is? Or is it just a combination of things that are making that come together, do you think?
That's a question we ask every one of our buyers coming in, and it's a majority of the clients we work with are people moving here, relocating from somewhere. And it's usually a combination of everything. It's the weather, it's the taxes, it's the affordability compared to where they're coming from. Maybe it's political, maybe there's a lot of different reasons.
Now, are the people moving here living here full time, or are they seeing this really as an investment, or maybe both? I don't know.
I think it's both. So here where we're at in Celebration, 70% of the people live here full time, and then 30% of the time this is their second home. But if you look at the Orlando metro in general, it's a good mix. It's people just long-term investors, short-term investors, moving here just to live full time and take advantage of life.
I've noticed that sometimes when there's just a lot of rapid growth, the people that are in those communities right now aren't as thrilled necessarily that things are changing so much. Yeah. Are you seeing that dynamic here? Is there sort of any maybe downside or pushback from the people that are here about this huge influx?
Yeah, I think, anytime you've got stress on a situation in an area where you've got more people driving the roads and infrastructure maybe hasn't caught up, real estate hasn't caught up, and prices are going up. Right. People get a little nervous about that. So here, I think people are pretty chill about it. They're welcoming, right? Because most people didn't grow up here, so they were once somebody that also came in and took advantage of what's here. But you got some of the more rural areas, because as prices go up, now it's not affordable in those hot places. Right. So those rural areas are getting taken over, where it used to be orange groves, now it's new neighborhoods, and they're like, I've been here for 25 years, and all these people are coming in, right? But ultimately, like, if you're not into progress, then that's not you. But for the most people are pretty excited about it.
Are you having any affordability issues? Orlando, in my perception, has always been a very affordable place to buy real estate. Is that still the case, or have you seen enormous appreciation and people are starting to say, I don't think I can go here, I've got to go somewhere else?
Yeah, it's over the past, especially the past 2 or 3 years, prices have gone up 25%, some places 30%. And so it has become a little unaffordable for the majority of people that used to live in those hot spots. And so we're a tourism town, right? So hospitality runs our show. And so when people are making $15 an hour, all of a sudden they can't afford apartments. They're having to move farther and farther out. So you've got a lot of Wall Street money coming here, building apartments. People are like Blackstone are buying hundreds of houses at a time, renting them out. And so in some areas it has been a little bit unaffordable, but in comparison to somebody moving from Chicago or New York or DC, they're like,
this is a steal.
Yeah. And no state income tax. You've got lower real estate tax, a lot of things that make it a little bit more affordable for people.
So what about the great resignation or the great reassignment or whatever you want to call it? How has that been for you in finding talent as your organization has been growing so quickly?
Honestly, it's been amazing for us. I know a lot of people are struggling, but for us, we have such a talent pool here from Disney. They've trained them how to be amazing people, whether it's agents, operations, marketing people. And so
that's true.
Yeah. And they're underappreciated financially. And so we bring them on and they're all of a sudden able to make more, work less, and we have a really robust talent pool. So I think as entrepreneurs, if they start focusing in on where's my talent potentially coming from, find that source, and it could be a powerful thing.
All right, so what are some of the maybe lesser known elements of living in Florida? For people, for me, like in Washington, D.C., I'm like, oh, it must just be so lovely all the time. But I'm sure there's a few things that are not as lovely.
Yeah.
or people should consider them before they make that investment and move. What would you say to that?
It does get super hot, like super humid, right? You don't have the changes of seasons as much, right? You do have in our area, or if you're even in Miami or you're in a lot of these areas, it's very touristy. So I think those are maybe the two, if you could call them negatives.
Well, that doesn't sound very bad.
No, that's pretty much it for us, yeah.
Well, I don't know. I think I'm convinced. I mean, this sounds like a wonderful place. Now, if you have your crystal ball and you look forward a little bit, do you think this trend will continue, or do you think you're going to flatten out a little bit? We've got a variety of other things at play now, right? Inflation, interest rates, who knows what's going to happen. Yeah. Are you hitting a peak, or are you pretty confident, no, you're just starting that trajectory up?
You know, I don't know if we're just starting, but we're probably heading towards that peak. I just think from an affordability standpoint, you know, people are still moving here, they have money. A lot of people are taking money out of the stock market, or maybe their house up in DC was able to cash out and they're bringing a lot of cash in, but that's starting to peak up. When you think about multiple offers and crazy stuff, we're still seeing that. Somebody on my team, we wrote an offer, it was like 42 offers, you know, and they're going against.
42, that's huge.
That's a lot,
that's
right?
A lot of
and
offers.
It's really almost every house we list, we're getting dozens of offers still. So I don't know that we've like hit the peak, but gosh, I hope it flatlines a little bit. Yeah.
So if you're considering investing here or moving here, what's your number one piece of advice? I mean, I would say call you, right? Like figure it out. Yeah. But beyond that, what would you say someone should be considering?
I think starting with the end in mind is always where I would go. So are you going to do this short-term or long-term as an investment, right? Is it going to be a full-time lifestyle change for you, which then you narrow down the area beyond that, right? Because not everywhere allows short-term Airbnb. And so kind of figure that out and work your way backwards, and we can help you do that.
Great. Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for coming out.
Good to see you.
Yeah.